Did you know that at the early stages of the Nigerian Civil War, there was a standoff between Ojukwu and Philip Effiong? Now, share this video because I'm going to tell you a story of how this happened. Now, according to Philip Effiong in his book titled Nigeria Biafra, My Story, it was the time in 1967 when the war was ongoing, and then Ojukwu, the governor, has invited all of them to the state house at Enugu at the time. And then when he arrived in Enugu, according to him, Philip Effiong, when he arrived at Enugu, he met the police chief just at the outskirts of the office, just at the entrance of the state house, okay? And then he greeted the chief of police then, and then he was standing beside him waiting for them to be ushered inside the office so that they can meet, so that the meeting can commence. And then he looked outward and he saw a man called Philip Alel was approaching them. He was coming up to their direction. And then he just remembered that the previous day that his wife had told him that Philip Alel has been looking for him, that he wants something to tell him. He wanted to tell him something. And then Philip Effiong took the opportunity to ask Philip Alel when he came up to greet them why he has been looking for him. And then in that moment, the moment he asked Philip Alel a question, according to Philip Effiong, he reported that in his book that he felt two strong arms lift him from behind and threw him away. And then Philip Effiong was surprised that this kind of thing was happening to him. And then when he recovered, because he has been lifted up from behind without his notice, and then he had been thrown off balance. And then when he recovered his balance, he turned around to face the person who did such thing to him. And then he came face to face with Emeka Ojukwu. Remember, Emeka Ojukwu was in his 30s in those days, while Philip Effiong was somewhere in his 40s in those days. They were both young men. And then, according to Philip Effiong, he said that there was something fierce in the eyes of Ojukwu. And then, through clenched teeth, Ojukwu asked him, "What were you doing with that man?" That is, Ojukwu was referring to Philip Alel. And then Philip Effiong had to explain that the chap has been looking for him for days. Then now seeing him at the government house is an opportunity for him, Philip Effiong, to find out the reason why Alel has been looking for him. And then Ojukwu told him never to talk to that man again. But then this was already a standoff, because for someone to throw you off balance and you're recovering to face that person, the decision or what you do next is going to say a lot about you. But then Philip Effiong has a lot of discipline. As someone who has spent many years in the military, he has a lot of discipline not to go into a fight with Emeka Ojukwu at the time. So according to Philip Effiong, this is how he reported it. And in the moment, what actually happened that on that very day was the day Alel was arrested, and then other things that happened, I've said it in my other videos. But then this is a standoff between Philip Effiong and Emeka in the State House in Enugu in 1967. Know your history.